guys, let's talk about the split jerk. You may not know this, but it's my favorite of the Olympic lifts. The split jerk is a dynamic movement that takes the bar from the shoulder to overhead in one explosive movement. So the split jerk is kind of broken up into three elements. We have the dip, that's the preparation for the movement, the drive, that is the initiation of the change direction, and then the split, or the punch under the bar. This video is going to cover the first two, the dip and the drive, because it's really hard to separate them into separate phases because they so seamlessly translate from one to the next.
When starting the dip, you want to make sure the bar, the hips, and the ankle joint all remain stacked vertically. The low back should stay neutral so that the hips can stay directly under the bar instead of tucking the hips forward or hinging and pushing the hips back, which would drop the chest. This is predominantly a knee-focused exercise. We want the knees to push outward and forward while staying over the middle of the foot. The bar is going to stay connected to the shoulders and the elbows do not drop in height during the dip. You'll notice that the dip is relatively shallow, only about 10% of my height or 4 to 6 inches, with the feet remaining flat on the ground at all times. As I get towards the end of my dip, you'll start to see that the speed of the dip slows down in order to manage a quick change of direction upward into the drive. I find balance, we dip, there's an abrupt stop, and then a quick change of direction, trying to maintain flat-footed drive throughout the whole thing. The head will move backwards out of the way as that happens, as the arms continue the upward movement initiated by the legs. One of the things you can do to practice this dip and drive is a complex of a dip plus a push press. That way we are getting consistent practice and repetition of the direction and balance of the dip and following through by adding a pressing movement to the drive so that you can learn to use your legs over a long period of time and achieve a strong lockout at the top of the movement.
So you'll notice that the dip is really the setup for the success of this jerk. If you're able to maintain that alignment of the bar so that it stays balanced over the hips and the ankle joint, then we can really direct the bar where we want it to go, which is going to be up and back slightly. The other thing that this is really helpful to practice is going to be that change of direction, how we accelerate initially on the way down, and then we have to slow ourselves down because in order to rapidly change direction, we've got to go from a quicker drop to a slower to an acceleration in the opposite direction. So as you're practicing this, I want you to think about maintaining balance across your foot. Even though we're loading the back of the foot a little bit more, the front of the foot should never come off. So we're always maintaining, and you're gonna hear this across the board with all the lifts, full foot contact, always a full foot into the floor. The other thing you're going to practice is maintaining knees out so that you can keep that torso upright nice and tall. And then we're going to think about creating as much space and time upward on the bar through the drive as possible. That is going to allow us the space in which we can quickly move our feet. So even though it's a fast lift and the change of direction is really, really necessary, we can't forget that nice big explosive drive up on the bar to allow us to be really fast in the next phase of the lift.